Okay, in this section, I'm going to be showing you how to log into our databases. Now, this is what you need to understand is that in order to view these copyrighted protected full text articles and ebooks, you basically need to say that you are a student here at Chabot. And you do this by entering, when you're prompted to, your WID number and your 6-digit class web PIN. The 6-digit class web PIN has pretty much been the password on how to log into our databases since January of 2020. It used to match the Canvas password, but it hasn't since 2019. So the important part to remember is your 6-digit class web PIN. So now let me show you how that process works. So let's say we're ready to access a database and we decide, okay, I want to find historical information about the Ashanti people. So I click on the link to the history databases, and this screen pops up. And this screen is pretty much where you go to enter your username, which is your WID number, and then your password, which is your 6-digit PIN. So I'm going to go ahead and enter this dummy type of password, and I then enter the 6-digit PIN. So that to make sure, make sure there's 6 dots. Now, while you go ahead and follow along while I'm showing this to you, because if you are successful, then then after we click on login, and if you see something similar, regardless what database you're trying to access into. I mean, in this case, we're going into the history databases. So we are successful to get into these two, as you see here. That means that we have been fully successful. And so now we're ready to start our research, which of course I'm going to be showing you in another section. But what if you were not successful? So you get a screen, something like this, or some error message on here. What do you do? Well, there are several different processes that we recommend that you do. But the first one, which we find is the most successful, is to actually clean out your cookies. So that means we'll go into history here. I'm in Chrome. So of course it's going to vary different if you're using, Safari, or if you're using Firefox, or if you're using Microsoft Edge, or Opera, but it's pretty much a similar process. So we come onto here and we're going to click on, in this case in Chrome, clear browser data. And we make sure that our cookies are at least selected. I actually recommend cached images and files as well. I mean, I can see some reluctance because, that means certain things will have to load all over again. So, I mean, if you want, you can try to see if cookies and other site data will be fine, but we're going to go ahead and click both of those on this screen here. Then you would close out your browser fully. I'm probably not going to do that because that might do funky things for my presentation mode here in Zoom, but that's what you would do next. And maybe even restart your computer. In fact, I would recommend that, which of course I'm not going to do because then the recording is going to automatically stop when I don't want it to, of course. And start up again, and then try again and see if you are successful. If you still aren't, then it's time for step 2, which is to go into Class Web. So here for the library homepage, we actually have a link to Class Web right at the bottom of the page. The college homepage also has a similar type of link listed towards the bottom. And we go to where it says sign on to Class Web. And in this, so we go ahead and enter our WID number. And then I select forgot PIN. And of course, because I made up the user ID, it was a failure all around. So enter this. Let's say that I was not successful. So we click on forgot PIN, and actually it first of all needs to make sure that I am who I am. So okay, so there's a certain question I have. You click submit answer, and then you can reset your password is how that works. I'm not going to go any further in that because of obviously privacy information. Now, once upon a time, we said, as soon as 5 minutes, you'd be able to log in. Well, turns out it didn't always work that fast. So from a half hour to even 2 hours, I have heard from our district ITS is how long it takes for you to get in. So that's what you can do in the meantime. So now we're ready for step 3. And it will be listed down here, a direct link. I forgot to do that part, but I will have it listed right below where it says welcome on here. And that is the alternative method to get into some of our databases, because there is an alternative method and it's a bit convoluted, but it is something that will work. So if you, let's say that, gosh, I really want to do my research now. I don't want to wait 2 hours. This is definitely an option. Or if you were not, or for whatever reason, something is more funky and it needs follow-up from us, this is something that you can definitely do. And so what you would do is you need to log into Canvas. It's actually the link I will have there will take us directly to the individual page. But I'm going to show you the indirect way to get into Canvas. So if you notice, all of our library web pages have a Canvas link here on the bottom. We click on that. Enter our WID number and our password. And now remember, your Canvas password is usually different from your class web password. So how you get into your class, that's how you get into here. And then select Chabot Student Resource Hub. Then click on Library. And then you see that after a link for databases and a tutorial, there's a link here that says can't log into database. You select that. And if you notice, the first part refers to our regular login screen. And then down below, you see this message here are alternative methods to get into some databases. So what follows for each is, a list of the vendor. Excuse me, I want to make sure I don't show, there's certain information not allowed to show on the publicly accessible page, but oops, you didn't see that. So after the name of the vendor and some examples of certain types of databases or content that follows, you will see a separate type of web page address. You go to that separate web page address, and then listed right below that after that is what the user ID and password is. So you go ahead and enter the user ID, and then user ID, and then the password. And that is the alternative method to get into these databases. So Any of our databases that belong with the EBSCOhost vendor, with the ProQuest vendor, the Gale vendor, the Infobase vendor, and Films on Demand, all these companies provide this alternative means to get in. Unfortunately, some other vendors like JSTOR do not. So in general, you want to make sure that you do have access to all of our databases. So you definitely, even if you do this, you'll still want to do step 4, which is to get help from us. So where to go to get help is actually, let's go to our library orientation guide, because that information is actually available there, as well as from most of our other pages. And that is, go to chat with a librarian, fill out the form, and let you know you are unable to get into a database. And tell them what steps you have taken already. Now, don't say I did steps 1, 2, and 3. They're not going to understand that. Only I will if I'm at chat at the time. So, you know, mention that you tried to reset your class web password and you waited at least 2 hours and you still were not able to get in. They'll ask you some further questions. You could also email me. I recommend doing both because if it's at a time where I'm not seeing my work email for a while, you may actually get some assistance in the meantime. And if not, eventually you will actually hear back from me. I'm basically the library liaison between our district ITS if someone in particular is unable to get in through the normal process. And this happens once in a odd while. It's a rare occasion. So this last part, if you are still here, listening to this section, you'll definitely have to have some patience until we get back to you, but it will be resolved and you will eventually get access to all of our databases, just like any current active student at our college. So that's it for this section on how to log into our databases.